Okay, this is part 3 of Atheism to Orthodoxy. And again, this is not a video to try to convert people at all. I'm not be the last thing I'd want to do. But the, well, I don't know about the last thing. It's not the intention of this video. As I was saying before, I saw something in humans that were not only, of course, something is greater than the sum total of its parts, its self, but something even more than that. And I saw that in living things. And not only humans, but animals, plants, life itself was pushing towards, or I guess the materialists would say pushing, I guess the believers would say pushing, but yet pulling also. And I don't know how well I deal with words like belief and faith. Faith, again, the idea that you're going to believe in something totally irrational and step off the edge, I would never accept. Like sticking your foot out and expecting off a cliff and expecting something to catch you, kind of like in Indiana Jones' Last Crusade. Well, for me, it's something more. It's as I was starting to practice as stuff like this, orthodoxy, and not really orthodox, just the prayers. I started to talk to people, especially debating against the uneducated, on facts of history and people who do. It's like, wait a second, because I thought back. Well, when I was actually religious, I never did. I always assumed to believe in a God of love, and when I saw parts in the Bible that conflicted, I kind of had a it's all right. That's the Old Testament. That's barbaric. I don't know. Nah, maybe the circumstance. You do justify it. You absolutely do. You make leaps or whatever. But I guess there were some points around times of great fear and doubt when I'd be like, well, I got to do that too. And a lot of the thing was the severe honesty thing, which totally goes against it. People don't get the idea, especially evangelicals. Right? Christ said, you obey the letter of the law, but you forget the spirit of the law. And a lot of that for me was telling the truth all the time, anywhere, which isn't a good thing. I don't think it's a Christian thing to do either. In Orthodoxy says not to do it. Yeah, and I'll give you a reference. If you were hiding Jews, Tutsis, a persecuted group in your house, and people who were exterminationists, people who like Nazis or Khmer Rouge or something like that, or Interhamwe militia, and said you have these people hiding, you'd say no, can't. I mean, you're obeying the letter of the law by not lying, by saying, oh, sorry, yeah, they're right. But you're obeying the spirit of the law to preserve life, to do good, by saying no. Child asks you if Santa's real. You could say, oh, yeah, he's real, and then later on say, oh, well, it's just a metaphor, and, it's the truth of it. But that's lying. Even now, you're like, because the kid didn't ask you if it was true in the ethereal sense. You're asking, say yes, Angel, okay? Because it's just a thing, It's, I don't think the minute nitpicking details matter at all. I think it's what you do and how you do it. And you can be very caring and kind with the little details, that's true. But I think all of this misses it. That's why I think all the debates against God, I think the atheists make better arguments, and I feel that they're speaking more for God because they're being critical and they're calling people to judgment. They're acting as the cosmic Satan, the accuser. That's his BS. And I don't, at least the Orthodox, to my knowledge, never debated these atheists, and they shouldn't. it doesn't compare. If somebody doesn't feel a pull of spirituality, it's fine. The only thing is that people want to get really belligerent around it and come up to you when you're minding your own business. Or you mention, oh yeah, they see a cross and start, right. And I actually ran into those people. I wouldn't have think they existed until I ran into them. The people who would question, you're not really in it. You believe, like, as if there's some inquisition about it. I don't know anybody in the world who would say they're an atheist who wasn't. They're like posers. It almost seems like they're not. They're trying to go by. It's very strange. But these people, I believe, in are extreme minority. Usually, probably in the early 20s. But no, so I see all these arguments for a good, a right, a just, things that are up and beyond us, and the idea that our instincts serve better than logic in a lot of cases. Because when you look back, I remember a test that it was done. I don't know if it was a very scientific test, but somebody would offer somebody like a stick of gum or something just arbitrary. The person would deny it, say no, and say, well, just take it. Come on, just take it. And then they said, the first take, they said, oh, that means they're weak-willed. What? I mean, these ridiculous connections that humans seem to make. It's like, no, that's not the fact that you would draw the conclusion from that. And a lot of the sociology hypothesis and theories and conclusions that people come to that were very odd, that the natural reaction almost seems the better. The basic things that we have, is it, I think if you were to look at it, rationally, rationality kind of, you have to make assumptions first and then, use the scientific method. You couldn't just start from it. And even Thunderfoot says that. I was, when I went inpatient for 28 days to get off the stuff, they had various people come to talk, a lot of AA stuff, and they had something called Codependence Anonymous. And it was her mother. It was a mother of a child who was, I think, 12 years old. And she said, I just had to, I needed my me time. I needed away because I realized, that I was being codependent to her. Because, ever since between 6 to 10, there's a dog going on. She was really demanding. And then when she got in her teens, she would always be rebellious and everything. And I just couldn't, it was just a codependent relationship. I'm like thinking, you horrible bitch. Like, that's what kids do, and it takes us and our smart to think about, oh, it's my me time. They got a justifiedness for selfishness. Of, no, you're a better person for, basically abandoning the kid. And I'm not doing it justice describing it, but it really was awful. And I said, wait, this was a 12-year-old kid. What do you? Of course, you start rebelling and doing whatever and not listening and not doing your homework and not cleaning up your room, and could you do it? And it was a girl too, and I've got a niece. It's, I think she's 17 now, but I've known her for a long time. I guess it's just their life, and it's that's just how girls act when they start getting into teenagers. And this woman, everybody, and I get to call it out. And when I call it out, everybody's, well, yeah, So it's more a thing that you kind of look around after a while. You think, yeah, that makes that, yeah, okay, I can see this. And it's more of a view, of a basic view. It's almost like not assumption, but a standing point where you say, okay, this is the basic way I view the world. There's something behind it moving. And I think that's why we see so many people who, with the great scientists, who are religious, because, wait, there's powers beyond us. There's sort of gravity and all this kind of stuff. And they were intensely religious people. is what is this? What's the mechanics of it? What moves all this? And again, I don't mean religious and cowering and fear. I mean not materialist. They believe there's something beyond. We know there is. Well, there's laws of nature. But what's the mechanics behind that? What's that behind that? And it sort of turns into a kind of cosmology. This is where it becomes kind of mystical, because you see the extremely large and extremely small affecting each other, which you wouldn't think they really would do. And that we're caught in the middle. We're kind of on the grindstone here. And it's really strange. I know I'm running out of time, so I'm trying to cut it short. I've told so much more to say and so much more to explain, but I'm really holding back right now. I'll continue these later. It's just when I get going that these seem to just go by. But there wasn't it seemed almost like an awakening, like, oh, right, like, okay, I get it now. As if the period of just intense disbelief, hatred, and it was hatred of God, the concept of God that I had, was needed. It was necessary. It's almost like this kind of Hindu or Buddhist thing, standing back and saying, okay, now, I don't really regret any of it. I don't think I sinned and fell away, and, I was in the prodigal son type of thing. And it wasn't when I came back at Damascus, road to Damascus type experience. It was a type of rationality, but not. Well, hold on. I'm not gonna. That's gonna stray. I'll give you another one of these videos maybe tomorrow. I also got to do the second chapter of the Mithritic Mysteries. So I believe this is part 3. Peace. Okay, this is part 3 of Atheism to Orthodoxy. And again, this is not a video to try to convert people at all. I'm not the last thing I'd want to do. But well, I don't know about the last thing, but it's not the intention of this video. As I was starting to practice as stuff like this, Orthodoxy, and not really Orthodox, just the prayers, I started to talk to people, especially debating against the uneducated, on facts of history and people who do, it's like, wait a second, because I thought back to I guess the believers would say, pushing, but yet pulling also. And I don't know how well I deal with words like belief and faith. Faith, again, the idea that you're going to believe in something totally irrational and step off the edge, I would never accept. Like sticking your foot out and expecting off of a cliff and expecting something to catch you, kind of like in Indiana Jones' Last Crusade. But for me, it's something more. As I was saying before, I saw something in humans that were not only, of course, something is greater than the sum total of its parts, its self, but something even more than that. And I saw that in living things. And not only humans, but animals, plants, life itself was pushing towards, or I guess the materialists would say pushing,